students, welcome to Relief Tutorials. I am Siddharth Joshi, your SST teacher. Hope you and your family members are safe in this pandemic crisis. This would be the very first lecture of online teaching. I hope that this also would be that enjoyable which we have enjoyed in the physical classroom. Today we are going to start our first civics chapter, that is power sharing. Power sharing. This word has so many meanings. When we hear the word power, usually we thought about the might. But as it is a civical chapter, so this power centrally focuses on government power. The power which government has and the power which government can give to other forms of government, right? So this chapter is based upon case studies. We have two different case studies. First case study is of Belgium and the second case study is of Sri Lanka, right? So I have divided this chapter into two different parts. This particular part, for this particular session, we are going to discuss about the case study of Belgium and case study of Sri Lanka. And in the upcoming session, we are going to discuss the prudential reasons and the moral reasons of power sharing, as well as we are going to share the forms of power sharing. So let's start. Let's see the first case study of Belgium. Belgium, a European country which is even smaller than one of the states called Haryana. Imagine friends, Haryana state is bigger than the country Belgium. Belgium also shares its boundary with Netherlands and Germany, right? Now we are going to talk about the ethnic composition of Belgium. Belgium comprises of three different communities. First is Dutch-speaking community. 59% of the people are of Dutch-speaking community, who are living in Flemish region. 40% of the people are of French-speaking community, who are living in Wallonia region, and 1% of the people are of German-speaking people, who also live in Wallonia region. Now this I told you about the country's ethnic composition, friends. Again I am repeating up that entire country comprises of 59% of the Dutch-speaking people who are in majority. Less majority are French-speaking people who are 40%, who live in Wallonia region, and rest 1% people are of German-speaking people who also live in Wallonia region. Now let me discuss the another contradictory part. So let's talk about the capital of the Belgium, that is Brussels. Here the scenario is totally contradictory, totally opposite. Means when I told you about the Belgium entire nation, who were in majority? Dutch-speaking people. Here in Brussels, French are in majority. 80% of the Brussels comprises of French-speaking people, and 20% community are of Dutch-speaking people. So if you are talking about comparing the country and the state, in country who are in majority? Dutch-speaking people, and in state who are in majority? French-speaking people. So this is the contradictory scenario, right? Now what are the reasons, or what are the probable reasons to have a conflict between two different communities? The French minority, I am talking about the French people who are minority in nation, not in Brussels. The French minority people were rich and they were very powerful. And if you are talking about the Dutch-speaking people who have accumulated wealth very gradually, right? So what Belgium government has planned in order to stop the conflict between these two communities, just like India, in standard 9th we have several times discussed about the Indian structure, Indian governmental structure, right? So similarly, up till now Belgium had only one form of government, that was central government. But if we are talking about from 1970 to 1993, Belgian government has modified its constitution so many times, right? And finally, they have come to conclusion in order to stop this conflicts between these two communities. What they have done, they have introduced one more level of government, right? That they up till now they had only a central government, but in order to stop the conflict between these two communities, they have introduced one more level of government, that is state government, right? As we have discussed that in India we have three different levels of government: central government, state government and local government. Similarly, up till now Belgium had only one level of government, that was central government, but they have introduced one more level of government, that is state government. And moreover, central government of Belgium has given more powers to the state government. And friends, state government is not subordinate to the central government. It means it's totally independent and totally individual, just like Indian government, right? Moreover, more measures they have taken in order to stop the conflicts between these two communities. What they have done, they have chosen the equal representation in both central government and state government of two communities. For example, in central government of Belgium, if there are 100 people, then 50 people should be of French speaking community and 50 people should be of Dutch speaking community. Similarly, in state government, in Brussels also, they have done the same, that if state government has 100 people, then 100 people should, 50 people should be of French speaking and 50 people should be of Dutch speaking. So this equal representation and the transfer of powers from central government to state government has almost sorted out all the problems between these two communities. French speaking community has also wholeheartedly accepted this, and even Dutch speaking community has accepted this wholeheartedly. Why? Because they have been given equal representation in both the government, central government and state government. Moreover, they have introduced one more level of government. Just like India, as I told you, that in India we have central government, state government and local government. But in Belgium, they have not only introduced the state level government, but they have introduced one more level of government, that is community government. Now what this community government means? This community government will only look after their language, cultural related issues, nothing else, right? And this community government would be elected by German speaking people, French speaking people and Dutch speaking people, no matter where they live, right? So this community government is specially built for this conflict solutions, nothing else. So again, let me repeat that how Belgium government has successfully sorted out these issues between French speaking community and Dutch speaking community. They have introduced one more level of state government, that is state government, and they have introduced community government, which only would look after the language and cultural related issues. However, this Belgian model of government is very complex, right? But it has become successful in order to sort out the conflicts between these two communities, right? So even European Union have chosen Brussels because in order to set up their parliament over there. Why? Because in Brussels they have been successfully doing all these power sharing practices, right? So this was the case study of Belgium, that though they have minority and a majority problem between these two communities, but how? By sharing mutual powers, sharing independent identity, right? How Belgian government has successfully transferred the powers and sorted out all the issues. So now it has become one of the very successful power sharing practices. So this was the case study of Belgium. Now let's discuss the case study of Sri Lanka. In Sri Lanka, Sri Lanka has become independent in 1948, right? Now, if we are talking about the size of the Sri Lanka, is just as similar as Haryana, as we have already discussed about the Belgium, that it is smaller than Haryana. Similarly, if we are talking about Sri Lanka, it is similar to Haryana, right? And it is just few kilometers away from the southern coast of Tamil Nadu. Now, if we are talking about the ethnic composition of Sri Lanka, Sri Lanka comprises of majority people, Sinhali people. Now 74% of the Sinhali people lives in Sri Lanka and rest would be of Tamils. Now 74% people are of Sinhali speaking people, 18% are Tamils, right? And rest 7% are Christians. If we are talking about this 18% of the Tamils who were in minority, out of these 18%, 13% are of Sri Lankan Tamils and 5% are of Indian Tamils. Now, who are these Indian Tamils? Indian Tamils were the people who have been migrated during, in the colonial period to Sri Lanka in order to grow tea and all that, because Sri Lanka is very rich in this kind of resources. So they have migrated, right, in the colonial period. So these 5% Indian Tamils have migrated in the colonial period, and 13% are the native Tamil speakers and 7% are Christians. Now, if we are talking about the majority people, in 1956, Sri Lankan government have passed the act. According to that act, Sinhali language has become official, right? Not only Sinhali language has become official, but all the Sinhali people, right? The Sinhali people have given priority in all the sectors, all the aspects. If you are talking about schools, if you are talking about colleges, if you are talking about jobs, if you are talking about parliament, everywhere the Sinhali people are given priority, and Tamils are being neglected everywhere. This particular situation is known as majoritarianism. What is majoritarianism? Majoritarianism means where a majority community would be given priority than the minority. Why? Because the government which has been selected or elected, I would say, by the people is a Sinhali leader, and Sinhali leader wanted Sinhali people only to grow. He was not interested in Tamils, right? So this situation where Tamils were neglected and Sinhali people have been given all the priority, that situation is known as majoritarianism. Now, what was the effect of majoritarianism on Tamils? Tamils were isolated. They were neglected everywhere. They were discriminated. Remember, students, in standard 9th we had a chapter, constitutional design. In that we have discussed apartheid system. Apartheid system, which was racial discrimination practiced in South Africa. What happened between the white government and black government? Similar issue has happened with Tamils. Tamils have been discriminated and they have been oppressed very cruelly by the Sinhali people. Why? Because the government wanted to do that. So Tamils have, in the initial stage, what Tamils have done? Tamils have started demanding their own state. They wanted their, own state where they can live and where they can have their own government. They wanted these issues to be sorted very peacefully. They did not want any kind of fight. Even they have not protested. They have gone to the leader and they have requested very peacefully that we want our own separate state and we would be having our self-rule. But even friends, even that request has been rejected by the government. So the protest has become violent. Now this violent protest of Tamil people, right, has led to civil war. Now what is civil war? Civil war is fight between two communities within a country. So in Sri Lanka, Tamils and Sinhali, they had a civil war because of government, because of politics only. And in this civil war, friends, lakhs of people have died and lakhs of people have migrated. So this was the case study of Sri Lanka, where because of the government's majoritarianism policy, innocent people have paid, right? So now let me conclude both the case studies in a summarized form, that in Belgium the similar situation was there between majority and minority, but due to their mutual power sharing concept, their intellectuality, right, government has peacefully made the solution and Belgium has become the successful model. And in Sri Lanka, because of the government's wrong measure of majoritarianism, the civil war has led, and because of civil war, millions of people have been died. So this was the case study of Sri Lanka. I hope that both these case studies would be clear to you. Write notes whatever I have said, and I will also send you some of the important notes which would be helpful to you. In upcoming session, we are going to discuss the prudential reasons of power sharing, the moral reasons of power sharing, and the forms of power sharing. Stay tuned. Thank you.